Let me also, I just simply reiterate too what Senator Taylor mentioned. Look, I, I don't think we'll have any challenge because you are the state official that I've had the second most amount of discussions with in the last year and a half. Only exceeded by Director McCraw of the DPS associated with border operations. But the legislature, while we meet part-time, doesn't like to be viewed as a part-time employee. And so whether that's in dealing with our university systems, any other aspect of state operations, while my individual conversations with you are not a lawful order to you, making sure that the legislative intent of the legislature is what is foremost in your mind, because ultimately our bosses in our respective apportioned districts are your collective.
Kind of a tough question, but I've received a lot of feedback about one of your deputy commissioners.
Yes.
And so how would you help us respond to those folks who have concern? I think it's AJ Crabill, used to be West.
Mm-hmm.
How would you help us respond to folks who have concerns about that?
Sure. Well, I've made a series of leadership changes at the agency and had a number of non-traditional hires. One of our hires, one of my deputies I hired directly out of the classroom, for example, but probably none is more non-traditional than Mr. He served for 8 years on the school board in Kansas City, Missouri. When he was on the school board, when he got on the school board initially, the Kansas City board and the Normandy board, those schools were equally rated. And you might not know the name Normandy, but you definitely know Ferguson, because that's where Ferguson is. So the state of Missouri eventually dissolved the Ferguson school district, the Normandy school district, but the improvement gains that happened in Kansas City, Missouri over his 8-year tenure are sort of nothing short of miraculous. They were essentially the lowest performing school district in the state, and now they outperform most of the inner ring suburbs. There's been a dramatic change in the lives of kids in that district because of his leadership, and there's also just some other stuff that was done, so sort of fighting good old-fashioned public corruption. It was in many cases the Kansas City board was just sort of passing out money to whomever, sort of a political pay-to-play scheme. They had 5,000 vendors for this smaller school district. So thanks to Mr. Crabill's leadership, they got that whittled down to actually only 800 vendors. There's been a total metamorphosis in the way the district operates. So he's a champion for kids that has a proven track record. He's also perhaps one of the 5 best minds in school system governance that I've encountered in the United States in terms of how to, as a former school board member, we have our school system is predicated on this idea of local control. And it's school boards that are in charge. And we have 7,000 school board members in the state of Texas, and they are phenomenal human beings. They're stalwart members of the community. Some of them are business owners. But walking in and being a school board member and understanding how you can govern that system to drive outcomes improvements for kids is sometimes impossible to figure out. And so he has helped us lead an effort to more fully empower and embolden school boards around the state to relentlessly focus in their role as a governing body on improving outcomes for kids. So certainly a non-traditional hire, but I wanted to make sure that we had the best people as possible in Texas, helping to drive positive changes for kids, since he's a very valued member of the team.